Hi guys, this is Axe. I'm here to explain to you how I did my makeup for this video where I'm wearing Chisaki Kai, aka overhaul. Oh, did you guys notice I had a haircut? And a change of hair color. I really like it. Edo did it. This is going to be pretty straightforward. There's going to be no eyebrow covering, no shaving of eyebrows. I'm just going to use my natural ones that I have plucked excessively to be able to be as close as possible to his eyebrow shape, but no blocking will be happening, no glue. We're going to use quite cheap makeup so that it's affordable for everyone. And it's going to be pretty easy, okay? So let's get straight into it. So I'm going to start first with my base. I'm a bitch who has absolutely no fear of any fallout. I always start with my base. I already have prepped my skin. As you can see, I'm just applying my base to the upper part of my face because the lower part is going to be covered by the mask. And I'm not gonna waste any product if I can help it. For this, I am using Optical Illusion by Urban Decay. It did it. I love this base, I always use it, and just a basic, it's a foundation brush. I really like it, and I'm not too concerned about it being perfect right now. Next, I'm going to apply my foundation. I'm going to use NYX. I use most of NYX products because I find it cheaper. I really like this foundation. It's very runny, very liquid, but it easily builds up. So you can have high coverage just by adding more product after a first layer. So I really recommend it. It's not that expensive for a foundation. I've been using it for a long time. My secret to pretending it matches my skin is covering my ears as well. Once I have used my foundation brush, usually I can see some of the strokes, and if I don't like it, I'm just going to go in with makeup sponge and tap it. Usually during that step, a lot of the product gets sucked into the sponge. So I will go back with more products if needed. Use as much product as you need in order to feel comfortable. Who cares? As long as you wash it well off your face so that you do not clog any pores and don't damage your skin. Gonna stop here for the foundation. Our next step is contour. So since Chisaki has apparently a receding hairline, that's not how I see it. He is my baby, he doesn't have a receding hairline, but he does have a lot of forehead space that's available. And my go-to contour when I'm doing villains is going very dark to give my face more angular shapes. And since we're going to have a lot of forehead space, I'm really going to cover as much. Don't forget it's going to stop here, so we're not going to need really to have cheekbones that are very defined, but I do like having some shadow around where the mask is going to start, even if it's above what the cheekbones usually are. So I will go really thick. I'm using again NYX Wonder Stick. Mine is in the second color, medium tan. It says, so don't be afraid to use a lot. Quoi? Oh. So don't be afraid to use a lot of this product because it's not very dark. Believe me. So you see I'm going to go really far on the forehead and then I'm going to really bring it in so I can have more angles. I always start with contour and then I will go with the highlights. And then just use your makeup sponge and dab it in. I would always advise going stronger, darker, more intense with cosplay because lights, edits, cameras are going to really erase a lot of your work. Then it's not going to be as visible. It all depends on the result you want to have. So you see this is way higher where I would do the cheekbones for men. Usually for men I will go lower, so I really have that area being dark and I don't touch this area. I would, on the contrary, use very high cheekbone placement when I'm doing women, so I can have a bit of more rounded face. The only reason I'm using this space for Chisaki Kai is because of the mask, and then nose contour, and then I'm just going to go with anything that's left on my sponge and go on the top. Now that I'm satisfied with all of the dark shades, I'm going to use the highlight part of the little stick. I also find this one is not very intense. It's not that light. As you can see on my hand, compared to my own skin, it's not that great. But very simple. I'm going to draw a little T and then pop on the high parts of my cheekbones, and since that's the only things that you can see for Chisaki, that's where I'm going to stop. There's nothing else to see. I often find that this one displaces my foundation when I use it as a highlighter. I don't know if I'm using it wrong or if I'm going too strong, but it does always create a gap. Okay, that's it for the base. And we're going to finish it off with translucent powder. I'm going to use NYX High Definition Finishing Powder. So I'm going to bake very small areas in my face. I use my makeup sponge and the side that is very flat. Grab it by just rubbing it, and it's going to get a lot of product, a lot of it. So don't go too crazy. And I'm going to go to the high points of my face where a lot of oil seeps through. For me, this is this part of my face very precisely, I don't know why. And then I'm just going to add a little bit between the brows, just really a little bit, and you press it into the skin and you leave it there. Okay, next step is finish off my nose contour. So I used to really apply my contour on the entire bridge of my nose, like all of this. And I found that in some picture I didn't like it because it was more intense than the rest of my face, and it made me focus on it. So the way I do it now is avoid this part of the nose, and I'm just going to draw the line on the arc, really the top here. So I'm going to stay quite high and not touch too much the sides. So I'm going to go with a darker shade and fill it here, and then connect that to my contour. I really go intense around this part of my area. It's going to make my face more angular, give my eyes more definition, and bring attention to here, and that's the part where I am more interested to. Once I have applied all the product, I go back just as a way to fluff up the line so that they're not so harsh, not so defined. And that's when I go a little bit lower, so I can have a little shadow on the sides of my nose, but not too intense. I'm going to use the same powder and use an angle brush. I'm going to go on my cheekbones. So I go back with powder contour to highlight the darkest point of my contour and create really intense shadow. I like the way it gives kind of a gradient shadow to the point of my face I want highlighted. Since I've been talking to you guys, I'm going to dust off the baking now. I'm more worried about looking cakey with too much baking than about looking too oily, because I can always come back with powder later. This is all for the base. So onto eyeshadows now. The only palette I use for all of my cosplay eyeshadows is this one. Just Peachy Matte by Too Faced. My main goal with Chisaki is having a very intense look, so that you look the most intimidating, the most villain-like, you look like you can kill somebody. The way I represent it through my makeup is by drawing really a cat eye shape. I follow the shape of my eye, and I really extended and elongate my eye towards my temples. I ended up liking it more when I drew bigger eyeshadows because I felt it was creating more of an illusion in cosplay, and the camera picked it up better. So first I'm going to highlight the whole shape that I want for my eyeshadow by using quite of a medium shade. I'm going to use the one that is called Peach Tea right here, this one. So I'm going to use it and go right directly on the corner and just swipe it here and then drag it. Basically the shape is going on the outer corner here at an angle that just follows my lower lash line, and then follow the bone and the shape of my eye. So you can really see where my crease is here. The foundation started creasing, and if you touch with your own brush, you can feel where the crease is. It's the shape of your eyeball underneath. This is the shape that I'm going to outline and deepen. So really follow that shape with your brush. Once you have that shape created, this really arced, round shape, then we're going to drag it towards the temple in a kind of V shape, going straight from the corner directly to the temple, and you really drag it into your contour. From that line here, I'm going to create a little triangle by just going straight into the shape that we've created before. For this, really play with your eyebrows and see how things are feeling, and then just drag things. Okay, so this is the basic shape that I use for all of my villains. Of course, this works for my eye shape. I have like an almond shape. It does not automatically work with all eye shapes. With all heard of hooded eyelids and so on. So I think it's all about experimenting with your eye shape, seeing what works for you and what you like artistically, and just go have fun. So this is the general shape, and as you can see, I try to go above on this lid, above where my eyelid is going to hide. Very often you're going to put eyeshadow and then you put your eyes back normally, and this eyeshadow is going to be hidden. Even if you think you have tiny eyes, add more eyeshadow here and it's going to give the illusion that you have a lot of space, even if you think you don't. Now I'm going to use a very dark shade. I'm going to grab a tiny little brush. I'm going to use this to grab a very dark shade, and I'm going to use this cool brown shade, very dark. This is a technique that I've started using that I really like in order to intensify my eyelids. So I go right under the crease, and with this very dark shade, just follow all the eye, all of it. I really like doing that, but just swiping it there. And you see, with just one swipe, it's already very dark, and just up and up. I really like it. This gives more definition. The way I go with cosplay makeup, the more you add, the less you can see. So, same with the second eye. With the same shade, I really go right above my crease here, in this little corner, this little inner corner right here. I'm going to add a lot of dark shade, and this is really going to deepen your inner eye and help with the whole murderous look. Next step is going to create a transition between those two shades. For this, I play between Peach Cobbler and Fresh Picked, this one and this one. So the way I do it is always I dip into one a little bit, I dip into the other one a little bit, and then I go. I first follow my crease, putting the brush right after the crease, contrary to the shade that we created before. So I dip into these two shades and I create the same first arced shape, connecting the little inner corner dark place that we've created here and really deepening this place. And then, just like I did before with the very first shade, I'm going to grab it and pull it towards my temple to create this V shape that I really enjoy. So I really like darkening this space particularly, because this is really going to give you an outline for your eyeliner, and you're going to see right after that my eyeliner is exactly the same shape, and this makes my life so much easier. This part is the most work for me, trying to blend the two, dipping either in one or the other. I'm going to bring it here a little bit and drag it here. Drag it really to the corner of my eye. Kind of like a snake kind of makeup. Yeah, that's the snake eye shape, I will say. Little snaky snake. Alright, and to quickly finish off that eye, I go back with the very first brush that I used, dust it off. And now I'm going to focus on the transition between these shades, this place, and the brow bone. So the brow bone is going to be the lightest shade, the one here, and then I will use also this one. So the first one I use is the one that's called Peach Butter, and I'm going to swipe it and go really at the edge of everything that I've done, and see it's going to really erase the sharp line that we had, and it's going to blend it very nicely with your contour, your foundation, and everything you have. So I also use it underneath my eye. And the very last shade that we use, again I'm going to use kind of a packing brush, the tiny little ones that have tiny little bristle, and really pack it full of product, dab it in to your brow bone. The way I highlight my brow bone is only on the arc, high point on my eyebrow, and this part of the eyebrow, the first third I would say of the corner, is going to be connected to my contour and my eyeshadows, because this is going to give me, for me, the more intense look, angry look. So that's why I really use this space. And now that I have my two shades, I also use the middle one and connect them. I go in with this shade here, this one. So very lightly use it here as a transitional shade, kind of extravagant. Alright, so this is the basic thing that I'm going to use. You can see the difference between the two eyes. I haven't added any of the other shades here. I'm bringing this color that I have on my eyelids up into the crease by mixing it with this shade here, and then just bring it here really close to the crease. Yeah, that's looking nice! A little thing that I love doing is bringing the same colors into my contour. So here they're pretty similar. I am just going to grab the more warm tone here and really dust it off so I can bring it into my contour on my nose, because I feel otherwise if my eyeshadow is too warm and my contour is too cold, I don't like it. And here I just fucked it up. Of course I did. It's okay. All mistakes can be fixed by using more of the products you've already used. Hopla, voila. Yeah, good enough. You know what? Whatever. So yeah, I'm really bringing it here just to finish it off. I think it looks nice, that's what I've been doing lately. So I always use all the brush and dust it off on my hands and drag it everywhere, blend it until I'm happy with it. Everything can always be fixed. I'm going to quickly do the other eye so that we can move on to the rest. Okay, this is more or less similar. Similar is the best I can do when it comes to makeup. Now we're moving on to part 3, eyebrows. For eyebrows, as I've told you, I do not use glue. I've never used it. So what I do is pluck my eyebrows very heavily. You can see I've gone quite very extreme in order to be as close to his shape as possible. You don't have to. You do whatever you want. I'm going to use a brow powder that comes from Sephora. And it's called a brow thickener. It's this tiny little thing and it has a tiny little brush, and this one is going to create a lot of fallout. This one is the only reason why doing my base first is a bad idea, but I still do it. So I go to the lowest point first and draw a line all the way to the high point of my eyebrow. So a very sharp line. So then it's just about going from that line and very slowly adding more and never going higher than the high point of my eyebrow. I like having very dark inner corners, so I really pack that product in here. And then from the high point I'm going to draw a line all the way to the end of my natural eyebrow tail. Now everything is about concealer. That's how I do it. It's going to look cheap and weird in real life, but on camera it hides things pretty well. So I use a combination of my concealer and this little packing brush that is angular. And I use this concealer from NYX. I hate it. When I use it as a concealer, it breaks, it crackles, it creates lines. I don't like it, it doesn't work on my skin. But to conceal eyebrows, it works great. So it's the Can't Stop, Won't Stop concealer. But I just basically go and add a little bit in the points that I don't like. So I just apply concealer directly onto my eyebrow hairs and then they disappear. That's how I do it. I personally want to conceal this part. What I'm gonna do is take it and apply it on my little hair. Oh, see? This is my hair. And you see I have a little bit of hair right here. So poof, a little bit of concealer. A little bit goes a very, very long way. And then I use my brush to extend it everywhere I need it to. And I'm going to conceal underneath here and on top over there. And just highlight the shape that I'm going to use later. I don't add too much underneath because I don't want it to ruin the eyeshadow that I've done. And then just blend it until you're happy. I'm going to move on because otherwise I'm going to be angry. Next, we're going to need a pencil, whatever pencil you want. I'm using a black one. So I'm just going to draw over the same shape here and fill it in, darkening it, and follow the same shape that I've created up to the high point. And now I can fill in, for example, I have a gap here and bring it down very, very lightly. This is a very difficult part. Just go lightly, take your time until you're happy with the shape. Yes, I am happy! So yeah, it's a lot of just illusion. If you create a darker shade on the parts that you do want to exist, and you add a lot of light shades on the parts that you want to hide, the brain is just going to blend everything and then it's going to look like how you want. I think one thing that is important to remember whenever we feel insecure about something in our cosplay that has failed, that hasn't met our expectations, that we're disappointed in, is to think that the cosplay is a lot of things. People are going to look at you from head to toe and they're going to rarely be close-ups, and when they are, you can always highlight the parts that you are happy with, that you are proud of. And in the entire ensemble, these little mistakes are not going to be too important in the end. So don't put yourself down and don't stress yourself out about cosplay. Very last step in my eyebrow is to use an eyebrow brush, and I'm going to go back to the shape and blend the products that I've used into the eyebrows. I do it after in order to blend the shape and make it a bit nicer, a bit more natural. I'm going to quickly do the other one and then we can move on. Alright, so they're pretty close. Do not worry yourself too much with things looking exactly the same. Nobody's going to compare, okay? Don't stress yourself out. This is fine. So now we're moving on to part 4, eyeliner. For eyeliners, I use 2 products. I use this one, which is a Sailor Moon eyeliner, and I really like it because it's extremely sharp, very easy to have very clean lines, but it's not very intense. The shade is not very dark. So I also use NYX Epic Ink Liner. Except this one, the same problem that I had with all the ones that I bought is that the little bristle separates and it makes being very precise extremely difficult. So I'm going to use this one first, and the way I do my eyeliner for my eye shape is going to draw the smallest line possible on the entire eye, so that I leave a lot of eyelid space and it's not going to make my eyes look too big. And then I'm going to draw a very thick wing on the sides. I have a tendency to go bigger and bigger every time I draw an eyeliner, but I think it looks very nice. So I start really in this inner corner right here and very slowly draw a very thin line very close to my eyelashes, and I will make this thicker if I need to later. I draw very small strokes, and starting from that point, the point that is aligned with the high point of my eyebrow, I start going farther, and then you're at the end here. Okay? Looking at it, I can go thicker, and I'm going to just follow the same line and just make it thicker. I just follow my natural eye shape, and usually I go thicker starting from the middle and then thicker, even thicker starting from the high point of my eyebrow. So that's the shape that I like the most. I have a lot of eyelid space, and then as you can see, I have drawn a very straight line, and I'm going to create that wing now. So this line just follows the eyeshadow that we've created before, just going straight from the lower lash line. Do not use tape, even if you use medical tape, for your lines near to your eyes. I know it's tempting, but this part of your eye is extremely sensitive, and pulling off tape is going to pull off your skin cells, and it hurts a lot. So it comes more or less after a lot of practice, but you can do it. So when I draw this line, I just start from the corner and just go straight, to approximately where the tail of my eyebrow ends. I'm bringing you closer so you can have a better look at my eyeliner. Okay, so now to create this wing, it's a lot of trying not to panic, and we're just trying to connect to the corner of my eyelid here and create a triangle shape, very narrow. So I usually go here or more or less, and then so I go in this corner and then just drag it along the line and then go bigger and bigger. Do not start too big so you don't have to correct later. And I keep my eyes open and looking straight ahead so that I already know what it's going to look like. And then I can look at how it looks from other angles. But I'm pretty happy with this shape. The way I do my eyeshadow for my eyeliner for hooded eyelids is really this shape of going like a snake. So I would really have a high arc here, and then here I will go lower and then into my wing. Rather connect the wing to as little of the eyelid as possible, and I really stay close to the outer corner, and then just about filling it in. You see here it's looking a little bit crazy, and just fill it in. So I use the Epic Ink Liner to fit it in and for it to be as dark as I like. If I want to thicken my wing, I will always make it thicker towards the bottom and never add eyeliner above, because I do not like the look when it fills into my eyelid. So for example here, I would rather connect my lower lash line into the tip of my wing. Like this. Yes. See, I really like how that looks. Yep, I'm happy with this. So I went back into the lines that I've created before with the Epic Ink Liner so that it looks a bit darker. It's a great formula, I just hate how the bristle always separates. So yeah, this is the eye look that I have. Yeah, my eyeliner has a tendency to look kind of crazy, depending on how you look at it, but I like how it intensifies my look, and every time I look a bit down, it really highlights that shape. I'm going to do the other one very fast, and then we can see how it looks at the end. Very nice. And when you manage to make them both look so unsymmetrical that it's really bothering you, you always have Q-tips. But also keep in mind that your eyes do not look the same at all. So for example, right now I feel like I've created too much of an arc and I don't like that. But since my eyes are very different, it's also something that you cannot avoid. Oh, so it's fine. Okay. I think this is pretty much good. Something that I like to add to my villains is to add a little bit of shadow where their eyebrows frown. It's something I've picked up since I've started cosplaying Backgirl, and I use Peach Tea. It's the same shade that I used first in my eyeshadow, and then I just frown and draw a very thin line into the crease that it has created, and I liked it. And then I try as well to make it less intense. I grab the same brush that I use for concealing so that it's more or less free of product, or at very least the product that is in it is going to help blend it, and I go back into it while I frown so that it's going to keep the same shape. Okay, this is looking nice. So this you can do very fast, and I like it because it's going to give you a perfectly angry look and just going to intensify every time you frown, every time you're going to give yourself intense expressions. Moving on to part 5, mascara. The only one I have right now, because I left the other ones at home, is the Better Than Sex by Too Faced. But I'm going to admit, guys, I did not like it at all. I've always found it very clumpy. My eyelashes were always sticking together. It's expensive for nothing, quite honestly. But then you don't need an expensive mascara. It's my opinion, because I do not really care for eyelashes. So if you want to save some dollars, I think you can save your cash on mascara. So very quickly, just swipe it on your bottom eyelashes, because that bitch has long, luxurious bottom eyelashes. And well, with this, we're done with the makeup look. So I hope you guys learned something that was valuable. If you have any questions on things I might not have covered, please leave them in the comments below. And if you have any advice, or maybe if you want to correct anything wrong that I might have said during this tutorial, please feel free to drop your little comments down below. That would be so helpful. So that's it. This is my very intense eyeshadow, very big eyeliner wig makeup tutorial that I do for Chisaki Kai. What is your favorite part of makeup in cosplay? What is the thing that you like to highlight the most, or maybe the things that you love doing the most during the makeup process? Please tell me in the comments. And now I'm going to grab my mask right here and my wig that is right here, and I will show you how it all looks in the end. Alright, I'm not wearing my mask right now because once I have it, people who need to read on the lips cannot anymore. So I'm just going to wear it quickly. So see, this is how it looks. So I used to be scared of going with bigger eyeliners for male characters, but in the end I think it does transfer very nice in camera. Whether it's for pictures or for video, it goes with your expressions, it brings them forward, and I really enjoy it. So I hope you enjoyed this little eye look for overhaul. And I will see you very soon for more makeup tutorials, other characters, other things will be covered. So if you want to be aware when that happens, subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell button to receive notification and be the first to know when something happens here. We will be posting every Sunday as often as we can, so it's interesting stuff are going to happen. You do not want to miss it. And I will see you very soon. Bye bye! I will not kiss the snake! No, I do not want to.